Many thanks for you guys being here, and also thank you to Frank, Dan Sedwick, and Augie, and the Sedwick organizations that asked me to speak about the modern Cuban coinage. There were many Cuban modern gold printed, issued, struck in Cuba after 1960. Specifically after 1977, when there was the first mint in Cuba. But I decided to go into just a small portion of those coins, specifically the ones that had very low mintage, because the quantity of gold coins struck was so huge that it really did not warrant to go into a conversation about them. But before we go into the core of this conversation, I would like to go back a bit in history and mention that during the Spanish colonial period in Cuba, Cuba never had a mint, even though the Crown did authorize something that is not so well known. Its establishment in 1869, and this possibly because the first Cuban War for Independence had begun just a year earlier. The Crown's neglect to open a mint in Havana caused a substantial damage to the economy, since the island was a very important trade center with Spain and throughout the New World. Havana was not only the point of assembly of the so-called treasure fleet, from where the 1715 fleet sailed, but in her shipyards were built the very same galleons that carry those treasures. And this gives us an idea of the thriving economic activity in Cuba at the time. Francisco Cajigal de la Vega was born in 1699 and died in 1777. He assumed the position of governor of Santiago de Cuba from 1738 to 1747. With the city of Bayamo under his jurisdiction, and despite Cuba's lack of an officially appointed mint, there were two instances where coins were struck in Cuba during colonial times. And both of these instances was under Governor Cajigal de la Vega. The first instance was in the city of Bayamo, when the governor ordered the striking of 1 real copper coins around 1738 to pay for soldiers' wages and for the repairs and improvements of fortifications such as El Morro in Santiago de Cuba. And the second instance was while Santiago de Cuba was under siege in 1741 by the English Admiral Edward Vernon, 1684 to 1757. The first coin is the 1 real coin that I made reference to, which reads Municipio de Bayamo. In those times, the Bayamo municipality was among the largest of the municipalities in Cuba. For those of you that may not know, Santiago de Cuba was named or called Cuba. So there is sometimes this mistake of when they're talking about Cuba, the island, or Cuba, the city of Santiago de Cuba, which, by the way, was the first capital of Cuba, Santiago de Cuba. So he was Captain General also Captain General of Cuba, of the island. Governor of the city of Santiago was by Viceroy of Nueva España, Order of Santiago, and so on. And then I quote written by I don't know who wrote it, but it says in Spanish. I'll make a fast translation. Before the battle and pre-thinking Cajigal of a possible attack by the English, which had superior forces in troops, ships, and weapons, He prepared the defenses, improving at a low cost to the royal treasury the fortifications of the coast, El Morro, Aguadores, La Estrella, the shortness of currency, and the shortness of situados. You know, we all know situados was coming from Mexico. Took him to strike copper coins. So this is the first news that we have, that these copper coins were struck by this governor in order to make this to pay for the troops and to prepare the fortresses for what did come later, which is the second coin, and that was the one that was issued in 1741 while the city of Santiago was under siege by Admiral Vernon. During the second half of the 19th century, the Crown finally agreed to establish a mint in Cuba. Also, this was not known, definitely not known. The royal decree of September 24th, 1869 was published in the Gaceta de Madrid on the 26th of September, was signed by the Regent of the Crown, Francisco Serrano, and by the Minister of Ultramar, Manuel Becerra, authorizing the establishment of Casa de la Moneda en La Habana, quote unquote, or a mint in Havana. Unfortunately, this decree never arrived in Cuba, allegedly lost at sea. No further efforts were made to open the mint since the War for Independence in Cuba, which started in 1868 and ended in 1878. That was the first 10-year war, was causing thousands of casualties among the Spanish troops. As Cuba entered the 20th century with the need to issue their own coinage, an agreement was sealed with the U.S. Philadelphia Mint to strike all Cuban coinage. Cuban coins were struck at the Philly Mint from 1915 up to 1960. We thus arrive now at the year 1977, when, for the first time ever, a mint was formally established in Havana, Cuba. Our conversation will center around the very low mintage coins struck by this mint up to 1990. The 1977 Lenin 100 pesos gold proof was among the very first coinage issued by the mint. Only 10 pieces were struck. These coins were mainly used as presentations pieces to dignitaries, and there are several of them in museums around the world, including the Hermitage in St. Petersburg, Florida, in St. Petersburg, Russia. This is an exceedingly rare coin. Probably less than 5 are known to be in collections. The Jose Marti gold coinage was issued in 3 years, 1988, 1989, and 1990. And it's notable for the amount of different types issued, yet almost every coin is absolutely very rare. This gold coin series consists of 5 values, 100, 50, 25, 15, and 10 pesos, covering a total of 60 coins. Each value was represented by a PF Ford, and each type was issued in proofed and BU. Now, with the notable exception of the 150 pesos in BU for 1988 and 1989, where 150 coins of each type were struck, 150. And the 10 pesos BU of the same 2 years were a surprisingly large amount of 2,250 coins were struck in each year. All other 54 coins in either proof or BU had a mintage ranging from 15 to 10 pieces. 15 to 10 pieces. So you can more or less have an idea how rare these pieces, have become or are. During 1989, the mint issued 150 pesos in gold in proof Piedforts for the Railroad of the World series, and they issued 3 types of 1 peso coins. Each coin depicted different trains. Actually, one was commemorating the Cuban trains, so the other one was with the Spanish trains, and the other one was for the German trains. And that's the first trains of the world. And they also had 50 peso coins issued depicting the same trains as the 100 pesos. Only 12 pieces were struck of each time, for a total of 36 coins struck of the 100 pesos and a total of 36 coins struck of the 50 pesos. So actually 12 coins of each. It's a very small amount, and really are also exceedingly rare. In 1989, the Mint also issued 100 peso gold-proof PF4s for the bicentennial of the French Revolution series. There were 2 different 100 pesos issued. One was the Bastille, and the other one was for the Liberty figure, a lady with a flag, depicting different revolution themes. An extremely low amount of 10 coins were struck of each type, and they're also exceedingly rare. Again, you know, I concentrated to bring here to point out, you know, the rarity of some of these pieces, which probably nobody has realized. During 1990, for the Latin American Figure 1 series, the Mint issued one 500 peso gold PF4. I have no picture of this coin. It's a coin of Cristobal Colón. The mintage is only 15 pieces, and it's a huge piece. It has a diameter of 60 millimeters and a weight of 155.5 grams. This coin is very rare and has not been seen in auction so far. It's, I'd say, very, very rare. In 1990, the Mint issued a Simón Bolívar Libertador series of 150 peso gold coin proof in Piedfort and 1 in normal thickness. Only 15 coins were struck of the Piedfort and 50 coins were struck of the regular thickness. So again, during 1990, for the 11th Pan American Games held in Havana, the Mint issued 350 peso gold proof in Piedfort, each depicting a different sport. There was the baseball and 2 other sports that I can't remember. Also issued were 3 coins with regular thicknesses depicting the same sports. 12 coins were struck of each Piedfort type and 15 of each of the regular thickness types. This one was the baseball, and as you can see, the engraver very cleverly designed the coin in the shape of baseball. So it's a very interesting design. Okay, before you fall asleep, I'm going to close with a very interesting story relating to the fathers of the Americanism, also known as Bolívar and Martí series, issued in 1993. Most collectors today place the 100 peso gold coins as part of this series, but in reality they're not. They are in fact patterns. They have a slightly higher gold purity of 0.999. The Mint experimented with the 100 peso pieces and ultimately decided upon the 200 pesos with a slightly lower gold purity of 0.900 as a coin to be used in this series. There were 15 pieces struck of the 200 peso in Piedfort proof with a strip shield, 150 pieces struck of the 200 peso proof with a strip shield. The first one is Piedfort and the second one is irregular thickness. And then there were 100 pieces struck of the 200 pesos in BU with a strip shield. Now, why do I say strip shield? Because In this series, we have a very interesting situation, and that is that we found in the 100 pesos experimental series or patterns, the shield with or without stripes, plain shield or without stripes, and stripe shield. In this particular case, the first coin is the 200 pesos with what they call the design that is smooth at the edges to really separate the figures of the horse and the head of Marti. Now, as we go into the next page and we cover the quantities of the 100 peso gold patterns, that's where this stuff gets interesting. According to what I have studied here, 12 coins were struck of each of the 4 100 peso gold patterns, with the possibility that 6 were struck in plain shields, with plain shields, and another 6 were struck with a strip shield, making them more than exceedingly rare, because we know that only 12 were struck of each type, but we really do not know how many of the 12 were with a plain shield and how many were strip shield. And I am really assuming that 6 and 6, but it's anybody's guess. Additionally, there's a possibility that some BU pieces were struck, and this is where the thing gets very interesting, using gold of 900 purity. Remember, the $100 or 100 peso pieces were experimental with the higher purity of 999. However, I found that this particular piece here has a very color, the gold has a very, very similar color than the 200 pieces, than the 200 peso, which is 0,900. While here, which I brought in for comparison, the same 100 peso piece has the darker gold, reddish dark, which to me it indicates it has a higher purity. Yet the die was not changed. The die said 999, but in my opinion, this particular coin, the gold was 900. They used 900 gold either by mistake or on purpose. I don't know, but they used the same die of 999 because it was 100 pesos and was being experimental. So this is what I think about that particular coin, which is extremely interesting. Now, in this series, there are 4 types of 100 pesos struck. One in BU, the other one in gold proof, then the gold proof in double satin finish, and the gold proof with a polished line to separate both figures. So this is tricky. This is experimental stuff. So the gold BU is the one that I just said, that I think that they also played with the gold content, purity content in the BU coin. And the second one, the proof, is the normal proof coin. However, the third one, it's a nice play where you have both figures which are satin finish, but one has a deeper satin than the other. In other words, they're very easy to miss, but they are indeed different when you look at them closely. And they had the double satin finish for each figure with, I'm not going into the plain strips, the shield, because I'm going to leave that for last. And then last of this issue is this type, which is the one that they issued with the 200 pesos with the polish line to separate both figures. And again, 100 pesos with the 999 purity. I found, and this is documented, the coins are out there and they have been listed in the registry of the NGC, both with plain and strip shields. So there's no question that they do exist, and there's no question that of the 12 coins that were struck, possibly 6 of each of those coins were in a different type of shield, stripped or plain. There are more modern rarities in gold and silver which are yet to be explored by collectors, but I have limited myself to the amounts that are really low in this area. But just to mention 2 coins that are really almost insignificant in the modern Cuban series, and that would be 25 cents coins. Lost in the mists of all of the Cuban coinage after 1977, there were these 2 pieces that were issued in these 2 different years. I'm not making any notes of this because I just thought to mention that a little while ago. One was for Finlay and the other one was for Humboldt. And they're 25-cent pieces. And you know how many pieces were struck of these pieces of each? 250. 250 pieces. That's a ridiculously low amount for such a low value coin. So why? I don't know. But these are the things that sometimes I look and they stick out, and that's why I wanted to mention that to you. So I thank you for this opportunity for this presentation, and good luck in your bidding in Dubai, and God bless you guys. Your present.